September Craft Box, which is the Christmas snow dome box. I'm going to go through everything that comes in it in just a minute. These boxes, if you're not familiar, we come out with monthly, and they always have like a really fun theme, and you get just a small little sampling of our different making essentials, our dies. This month we have 3D embossing inside, which is really great, but they're just an amazing value. And you can get them both on Sizzix.com and Sizzix.co.uk, and they're just a fun little treat in the mail every month. I wanted to show you what I'm going to be showing you how to make today. Because it's snow domes, there's lots of elements. I'm going to go through them individually, but I'm going to show you how I made this fun pop-up card. It's very dimensional, as you can tell. Maybe you can't tell. But I'm going to walk you through how I actually created the card base and made this little festive scene using the elements that come in there. So I'm going to literally jump right into it because I know you're all here to actually see the project and look at what's actually in the box. So just give me a second. I'm going to switch to my overhead camera real quick. Okay, so I'm going to show you what is in this month's craft box. I'm going to start with the dies because obviously you need the dies to even start making projects. So the first die set that's part of it is called Festive Elements. It is quite literally what it is, festive elements, but you get a really nice scaled, I actually have it over here to the side, sentiment, and it's a pretty decent sized sentiment. So sometimes I feel like sentiments can be either too small or way too big, and I feel like this is like the perfect medium size for what you're looking for. You also get some really nice holly leaves and some bells and some really beautiful kind of intricate pieces and a lovely little reindeer and some smaller elements to even just decorate your various scenes that you might do. So that one's a great piece, and you get a sentiment with that. The next dice that you're going to get is Snow Dome, and this one's by Jenna Rushforth. And what's cool about Snow Dome is that it comes with the ability to make a variety of different scenes. So you get this little itty bitty scene, but all those elements can actually make a variety of scenes. So you can just have the tree with some gifts. You can also have Santa with the penguins and the gifts and the trees. You can do a variety of things, and it'll be unique, and you can customize it. So this one right here, we just did the penguins, and obviously these aren't the papers that are in the box this month, but I had these off to the side, and I wanted to show you the different types of scenes that you can customize and make with this particular die set. But what's really cool about this die set is that the shaker domes fit around it, and these shaker domes, actually the 3.5 inch, come in the craft box this month. So I'm gonna actually just open this up so you can see how perfectly they fit around. So you would literally just remove the adhesive backing and fit it around the back like that. And you have these really nice shaker dome scenes that you can do. And what works even better with that is that in the craft box, you're also gonna get 2 sequins or beads from our festive pack. So I've got the micro beads and the snowflakes in mine this month. So you would put those into your scene, and then you have a really nice shaker card or shaker element. You can make ornaments by backing 2 of these together, which is really cool. So you could do a double-sided scene, and then just cover the outside with some ribbon or some rope, and then just have a hanging tab from here and have a really nice shaker scene for your trees, or to give as really cool gift tags. But I wanted to show, because I realized I had it off to the side, the scale of this one, so you can see like the actual sizing of those elements. It's obviously on our packaging, it's scaled down a little bit in size. So this is the realistic sizing of these. What I think is really nice is that you can create, within the domes, you could do a really cool little scene with the berries and the holly. The Merry Christmas, if you trim it down, would fit inside if you just cut off these little edges. So you could also do the sentiment inside if you wanted to as well. But what's even better, I love when we get to include 3D embossing in pretty much anything that we do. And this particular one that's in the craft box this month is probably one of my favorites. It is called Christmas Tree Pattern, and it is by Kath Breen. If you are not familiar with 3D embossing, 3D embossing is one of the coolest ways to add texture to your backgrounds or to make really standalone cards or standout cards. I did want to show you a couple of different ones. So this one's on a gold metallic cardstock. In the craft box this month is silver metallic cardstock, so I'm going to show you those in a second. But I just wanted to show you that in and of itself is just a really stunning card front. All you have to do is put like a sentiment across or add a little scene in the bottom, and you can have this really ornate card just with that. I also wanted to show you two other ways that you can use the embossing folders. So I painted with our gold metallic paint. I painted a panel and then waited for it to dry, and then I 3D embossed that gold metallic paint because I wanted more of a brush stroke look. So I want those brush strokes in there. I thought it gave it a really organic kind of texture. And so I just wanted to show you what the 3D embossing folders look like when you emboss them after you've painted a piece of cardstock with paint. Our matte acrylic pinks are really nice. But 3D embossing is also an opportunity to use our multi-tool and the blending tool head and do some ink blending across the top. So I've mixed a variety of distressed inks in green ranges to create that little popped effect, which I love. I keep like hoarding this panel so no one will take it from me because it's probably one of my favorite panels that I've done in a while. But in order to make all these cards come to life, you need two other elements. So you need something to put them on. So you are in the pack, you're gonna get the mistletoe green cards and envelopes pack. So these are cards and envelopes that come in a 10 pack where you're gonna get a really nice, sturdy green, but the cardstock itself is really durable and very thick, and it just has a nice smooth finish to it. The cards themselves, like the main piece, those are 111 pound or 300 GSM, and the envelopes are 31 pound or 120 GSM. So they're a little bit lighter. These are perfect for holiday card making and sending out to all your family and friends if you do that. And then to assemble, we're also including the permanent adhesive roller in this month's craft box, another great little staple to have whenever you're making cards. Now, the surfaces that are in the box this month is the normal. You get the 5 pieces of white cardstock that come in a pack. So these are to make your card bases or to use for embellishing pieces. You're also going to get the silver metallic cardstock, opulent cardstock. And if you are familiar with our opulent ranges, they come in 5 different colors, but you're going to get the silver this month. There's the glitter, the mirror, the brushed metal, the pearl, the matte. So you're going to get to try a little bit of each of those. And then you're going to get one of each of the colors in our festive cardstock pack, which happens to be one of my favorite packs, and I use this actually year-round because I find these colors work beautifully year-round, even though it's part of our festive range. So you're going to get one of each of these. They have individual names. I'm not going to do that to you right now. I think we want to get into the make, and I wanted to show you I think a lot of people were thinking, oh, you can just make shaker cards or you can use these cards individually. What I wanted to do was kind of show you a new way to make a pop-up card using these elements in an unusual way. So we're gonna start by first building our base and the actual pop-up element. So this is kind of what I have created. I took one of the card bases and then I cut down the black panel to fit inside. This is 5 1/4 by 7 3/4, and then I folded in half. Now, how did I get that pop piece in the middle? I'm going to show you how I did that. So you're going to need like a ruler and a pen and a pair of scissors to do this next part. I'm just getting my panel out. So what I've done is I've cut that panel down. Like I said, it's 5 1/4 wide and it's 7 3/4 in length, and then I fold it in half so I know it'll fit inside of my my card. And then what you're gonna do is take your ruler. I'm gonna do it this way, yeah. I'm gonna do it upside down. And what I did is I just kind of figured out how deep I want my pop-out element to go. So if you want it to come really far out in the card, you're gonna go further up. And if you want just more of a shallow one, you'll just kind of come further back. And then I lined up this side and I went in about 1.25 inches on from each side and marked my place. So 1.25. And then I'm just gonna draw across to give myself a straight line between those 2 points. Then you're just going to do the straight line from those 2 points down to the folded edge. Now there are fancier ways of doing this. I'm keeping this fairly simple just for this, but you could do them you could do multiple ones of these and create a multi-dimensional pop-up card. But then you're just gonna cut along that line up to the straight line across on both sides. And you want to make sure that you're cutting to the same point. And so then you've got this piece that kind of opens up like this. And what you're going to do is you're going to pull this piece forward in the middle and start to fold it the opposite direction from that. Now, I'm going to do that and gently fold on the back side. But what I really am gonna do is I'm gonna do that the other direction too. So you're gonna push that middle piece in so that you can get that even fold. But then I'm gonna line up my 2 edges. And I'm gonna use my fold and form tool so I can get the scoring edge. And I'm gonna line that up now that I've got kind of where I want my folded edge to be, and I'm just going to really kind of do that in place. And then you've got this really nice pop-up element that you can build your scene on front of. Now I've already adhered mine in to the center of my my card using the permanent adhesive roller. So I just went the adhesive around the edges right here on both, but I put one side in first, laid it down, closed my card, made sure it was in good, and then I did the adhesive on the other side and then also closed it. That way it was nice and flush against the card. You want a tight fit when you're doing these types of cards. So the next thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna cut a few elements. Let me get out my big shot. I've already pre-cut a lot. I'm just gonna cut a few pieces that I'm gonna show you how I made them. So what I wanted to do was to create a little half dome scene. So I've taken elements from the 2 die sets and I've created this little half dome which will sit like this on the front of that little pop-out part. So I'm going to show you how I created the half dome. From the white cardstock in the pack, I cut the circle that's part of the snow dome set. And I'm also going to cut this little kind of snowbank from the glitter silver cardstock. So I'm going to cut a little piece of that down, and I'm going to cut that as well. You will need to pull some liquid adhesive or some adhesive sheets if you have a preference, and because you're gonna use them as you're doing the makes. So I'm gonna just cut these 2 pieces real quick. And then if you have a paper trimmer, you can trim kind of where you ideally want that to be. I just eyeballed it. So I knew I wanted a straight edge, so I just cut a straight line across. If you want like perfection, you can get out a paper trimmer and get that way, but I was perfectly content eyeballing it. And then I've got my silver snowbank. So what I did is I made sure that like it lined up enough before I put my snowbank across. And you're gonna want to make sure that you don't cut up too high, otherwise your snowbank won't have anything to adhere to. So I'm going to just take some liquid adhesive. I'm gonna use my express glue, and I'm gonna glue this onto the bottom edge. Okay. And you're just gonna line up where that lines up. And then set it off to the side and let it attach. Okay, so then I wanted to show you how I made these dimensional looking trees. So what I did is I took the tree set that's part of the snow dome and I cut it twice from kind of the olive toned paper, and I know it has a name, it's called Sage. So from the Sage cardstock, I am gonna cut two. So I already cut one, so I'm just gonna cut another real quick. And I'm also, from the Pink Fizz cardstock, going to cut this little banner piece. And from some more silver glitter cardstock, I'm gonna cut these star and bobble shapes. Get my die pick real quick. So you'll want, if you want to create these dimensional trees, you're going to want to cut two of those, and you only need one of these kind of like the ornament strings. And then you just need one of the large stars in order to make these trees. So what you'll see on these trees is that they have kind of like an embossed crease line down the center. So on one of them, you're just gonna gently pull towards this to the center on that crease line. And then I actually used the scoring tool. Once I got it to move, I used the scoring tool to really firm that line up. And this is what creates that dimension from the back. Now, before I glue that piece onto there, I am gonna just adhere this on. What I found worked is I just put a little bit of glue on the back side of the one ornament, and you're gonna trim off the excess. And I just have it going up there, and then I'm gonna put some glue behind the ornament on this side. I'm not gluing the middle ornaments because I want my tree to be dimensional and to be able to move easily. So I'm just gluing the two end pieces. And then I'll take my scissors and trim off the excess. I always trim from the back so I can see that line easier. So I always flip. So then I've got my first little piece. And then what I'll do is I'll have it go this direction. So I'm just gonna glue the one end, put that on first. And then you'll put some glue on the other side. And then again, you'll just trim from the back side off the excess. And then you've got a little decorated tree for the front of your card. So then what you'll do is you'll just put some adhesive on this central panel on the back, and then you'll align this panel to where it would fit the same panel on the back side tree. I'm gonna just let that sit for a second. And then you will adhere your tree to the top. Or not your tree, your star, sorry. So then you've got a fun little dimensional tree to add to your scene. So I've already cut the kind of stem piece out, or the trunk we'll say, and I'll adhere that on to the card in a second. So once this is dried, then I want a straight line there. So I'm just gonna trim like that, and now I've got my little snowbank scene. So I've already started this one, and I've actually adhered this tree on with some foam tape just to give it a little bit of extra dimension. And I realize my little ornament's not stained, so I'm going to put a little bit more adhesive on this. There we go. I also have already put together the little Santa from the Snow Dome. So I want to show this to you real quick. This is the piece. It comes with all of the pieces on this die set in order to even create it. So you, it's really easy to follow, especially if you have the packaging. I would recommend just looking how he's put together on the packaging and following that. It's very simple, like the body and the elements fit how they fit on there. But I just wanted to say all the pieces to make the snowman are on the same die set. So I've created my little Santa, and I made another tree, and I just did different colors, and then I cut some of the little baubles out and decorated the tree that way, and I'm gonna stick that in behind and have Santa in front. So I like building my scenes. But what I wanted to do was start to kind of layer this in. And what I found, what I liked, is that it creates its own little snow globe, but I actually wanted to make it feel more dimensional. So I was gonna have one of the trees kind of glued off to the side, so it just feels like more of a scene. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start to layer in these pieces. I've put foam on these ones because I wanted them to pop off the front and create even more dimension from the pop-up. So just gonna put those in, and then I've got my tree trunk right here. I'm gonna use my fine tip tweezers to place this. And before I put my Santa down, I'm going to actually put this other tree down, but I'm not going to use foam tape on it. I'm just going to adhere just the one side off to the side of the dome. And then I'll put my Santa in. You can also, to the back of that, adhere your little tree trunk. So that the tree trunk still shows through on the front. Okay, and then I've put a little bit of foam tape on the back of my Santa. And again, you don't have to do the dimension if you wanted to just adhere these elements down with the double-sided tape that comes in the box, or if you have liquid adhesive as your preference, you can do that as well. I just like adding additional dimension where I can. Everything is sticking to my fingers today, so I thought if I used my, there we go, where I thought I had it. There we go. This one is really stubborn this afternoon. Finally got it. then I'm just going to add my Santa to my scene. I might have his arm tuck in a little bit. So there, I've got my little scene, and what I like is that it's even going off that edge a little bit. And I'm going to actually just adhere that to the pop-up part. So I'll lay it in and kind of try to even it out a little bit so it's center in the middle of the card. One thing I thought would be fun, because that will then lay flat, and then when you open it, it pops up. It's so cute. I thought it'd be fun to create like a forest behind. So behind this kind of dome shape, you could also add in other trees popping up. So you could lay them in like this, so it looks like you have a forest line. So I'm just gonna put a bunch of trees in there because I am obsessed with forests. I think it's my favorite thing to explore. So I'm just gonna lay a bunch of pieces in there and create my own little forest scene. And you wanna put them at differing heights because obviously treetops are usually at differing heights. And I've cut all of these trees from all of the different greens and aquas in the festive pack colors that you come in your little pack. And some of these, if you wanted to, you could pop them up, create even more dimension. Your card may not lay quite as flat if you do that, so that's why I'm only doing these flat, and I'm creating the appearance of height just by changing up the variation. You could also decorate them if you wanted to as well. But now I've got my little forest scene, and it's not complete without a little sentiment. So I've cut the Merry Christmas from the Festive Elements set, and I have cut that out of the pink fizz, but I used an adhesive sheet in the back so that it would be easy to put on this really intricate die set, or die cut I should say. And I thought that pink would be a nice pop against the black, and it pulls in the little elements on the trees, ties it all nicely together. Just before I really adhere that down, I want to make sure it's straight and kind of centered. It's pretty close. The beauty with adhesive sheets, if you don't push down too hard, you can actually still like pull things up and move it, which is not necessarily something you can do with other types of adhesive. So there you have your fun little dimensional pop-up Christmas card. You can decorate the front of the card, and then you just pop it in your envelope and send it on its merry way. Okay, so that is my project for you. I hope you feel inspired to create your own little scenes. You don't necessarily just have to put them in the domes. You can also create dimensional scenes even just by creating your own fancy little cuts in paper and making your own little pop-up cards. Definitely check out these sets. So we got the festive elements, we got our snow domes again, and then my favorite, the Christmas tree pattern embossing folder. There's so much you can do with this, and I actually have seen Pete, he's cut out like a large triangle from this and run it through the machine first and then embossed it, and then he went back over it with the inks and made his own little Christmas tree out of the triangle shape that it cut. So there's a lot you can do with embossing folders in general. I didn't use it on the project today, but I definitely want to recommend using embossing folders just to create your own unique invitations and cards and incorporate them into your scrapbook pages, your daily journals. things like that. They just add a really nice, fun little element to everything. That's it for me. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments section, and someone on our social team or myself will get back to you and answer those. Again, these are available on the websites right now, and you want to get them before they sell out. So head on over there right now. If you do end up making stuff with our craft box this month, make sure to hashtag us using my making story, and we'll be able to see what you come up with. I'm always curious to see what their beautiful brains come up with. I hope you are all staying safe. Take care, and until I see you again,